Yo, I Respectfully Disagree podcast, episode 140. Got a new face, a new voice in the building. Want to welcome Jared to the podcast. What's going on, man?
Man, nothing, chilling, man. Appreciate you having me. I'm glad we was able to finally link this up, man.
Most definitely.
Been talking about it for a while. I'm glad we was able to get it together. So
good stuff, man. I've told people on here as well as just regular conversation. It's crazy how the internet and the sneaker game has allowed me to build so many relationships with people all over the place.
That's facts. And it's like it's almost wasn't even I meeting you today because I feel like
right.
you know what I'm saying? I done seen your family, we did have I was telling my wife earlier, I'm like, man, I done probably had more conversations with him than I had with my day ones back home, over the last 3 or 4 years. So it felt natural and organic, like, you know what I'm saying? I seen you come out the door. I'm like, man, that's bro. I feel like I've known you forever, man.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So he hit me up. He said he was pulling up in town and he wanted to pull up. So I'm like, cool, let's do it. And for those that have been following the channel or listening to the podcast on streaming, you all know I've been doing hashtag support the homies for the longest. And I've said from day one on this podcast, anybody that's doing anything positive, I'm here. The mic is always open. I'm trying to plug it, push it out there. And that's how we can all network and help each other. So before we even get started, first of all, today's topic is going to be Dame Lillard's comment and ring culture. Dame was on a podcast with JJ Redick. And he was talking about the direction that the league is going in and how he really didn't care for it. So that's going to be the topic. But before we even get there, you're a part of a podcast, man.
I am.
We starting there, man. Like I said, we're going to support the homies. And every play is crucial.
Right.
So, Epic.
Yes, sir. Epic podcast. It was started by my guy, Vernon. Shout out to Vernon. I hit him one day, randomly. I'm just like, man, we should do a podcast. He's like, man, you know what? I already got something in the making. I already got something joined up. You know what I'm saying? Something started. And he was like, man, you more than welcome to come on. So I said, hey, I'm down with it. 2 weeks later, we shot our first episode. We're at episode 18 now. Shout out to Justin, Isaac, and Vernon. Every Wednesday, we go live on YouTube. And yeah, I mean, we talk about sports, we kick the shit, we talk shit to each other, just mild manner, just conversation.
Right.
So no sports topic is off, limits.
And I've noticed that, like I said, I done caught on to it and I've been listening to it and checking it out. And I love what y'all are doing. Like I said, the Lamar Jackson one is what caught my attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just sitting there listening to them and I was like, everything that they were saying was on point. And that's part of, what I wanted to do with mine as well, in terms of y'all have real conversation.
Yep.
It ain't a bunch of silly talking points and people just say stuff to grab attention and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the people that I kind of steer away from, because I'm like,
exactly,
if we're going to sit down and have a sports debate,
right,
then keep it strictly sports, stats, speak off facts. Don't just sit here and say a bunch of outlandish stuff and try to make it a point because you elevated your voice higher or whatever. It's like, bro, like I can't talk to people like that.
And they kind of get on me because they say that I always try to downplay my teams because I'm so against being that guy that's, he's just saying that because, he's just saying about the Bengals because, no, if I'm going to say something, it's going to be real genuine. I'm too grown to be just saying stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So they be like, man, nah, talk your shit, you good. But I'm like, I just want to make sure everything stays completely balanced. I don't want, anybody, oh, well, he just like LeBron, so he just saying, nah. What I say, I want you to respect it. So if I'm not being genuine with it, it's not respected. So that's something that I try not to do.
I agree wholeheartedly. Like I said, look, you've been following me long enough to know I'm a diehard LeBron fan. But when he F's up, I talk about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not one of them, LeBron, he can't do no wrong.
Right.
And I'm like, even with last night, dude, like we ain't gonna dive too deep into it, but it's like you're up 4 with 10 seconds.
Crazy.
Anthony Davis has to know not to make that foul.
Crazy. Crazy. And what really sucked about that is that I wasn't watching it because we was just moving around last night. So I'm just like watching it, quote unquote, just like ESPN updates. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, well, this game is over. Then I see that he gets 3 free throws, 3 free throws. I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me. Then it's 110, 108.
Yeah.
6 seconds left. I'm like, worst, they'll go in overtime. And then, like, I can't even describe the pain to seeing it go from, 110, 108 to 111, 110, game over. I'm just like, out of all things that could have happened.
Exactly. And that's why I was just like, situations like that, when I'm sitting here looking at these games, I'm staying up late at night anyway because it's West Coast.
Right. Yep.
And I sit here and watch these meltdowns, and I'm just like, bro, like, how is this even possible? Or, LeBron gets the rep of he don't play defense. He's just sitting there sagging in the paint, and I see it.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
we talked about it.
I'm like, bro, I'm going to call that out, and it's like, nah. He's been in the league 20 years. I'm like, bro, that don't matter.
Nah, that don't. Now, granted, after 20 years, should the team's win or losses be dependent upon him? Not necessarily. I don't agree with that. But, yeah, man, you got to play defense. Like It's almost like it's something in his contract to don't challenge nothing at the basket. You know what I'm saying? If they coming at you in the paint, just, concede it. I don't. It's weird. I don't know. And it kind of started, back his last couple years at Cleveland.
Yeah.
I watched too many games where Dennis Schroeder from, the Hawks at the time, straight to the basket, layup. It's just like, man, what's going on? So I don't know if that's part of his, conserving his body. I don't know. But like you said, we call it out every time. It ain't nothing that, we turn a blind eye to. So
I've caught so much flack. Like, people have argued with me, like, oh, you ain't no real fan.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's crazy.
Because I hold them accountable. I'm not a real fan. It's like, nah, that's wild.
That is crazy.
It's super wild. But yeah, we'll get on to that. Like, it's all gonna fall into this conversation with Dame, because I feel like that's a part of it too.
Yep.
In a sense,
for sure.
But like I said, most definitely, I wanted to shed some light on the podcast. I'm definitely gonna be tuning into that moving forward. And shout out to your partners. Like I said, y'all doing a good job. So real quick, I'm gonna play this clip. And this is where Dame is talking about it. So that way, you know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't sitting here chopping and screwing and not getting the full context of what he was saying.
Watson was 40 when I played with him. I played with like real vets, and it was a lot of stuff that I learned about being a point guard, or, how to lead, from Mo Williams and Earl Watson and Jared Jeffries. And they didn't even play, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just the way that they showed me how stuff had to be done. I had no choice but to respect the game. I didn't have, the word I was looking for is entitlement. Like, when I came in the league, you had to earn not just what you get from the team or like the respect. You had to earn your space on the team. It was no, oh, you the 6th pick of the draft. It's your team. Like, what is this your team stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think now the biggest difference is you don't have that veteran presence. So you got players who are more talented than ever coming into the league. They're getting picked, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're making more money than those picks ever made. So not only that, now you're giving them the keys to the franchise. There's nobody there to really let them know, like, you super talented, but like, you got to earn stuff around here. You know what I mean? You got to earn your way. So they come in and everything is just given to them from the beginning. So that affects how they are, the way they play. Like, they play for themselves. They play for stats. They, think that they're LeBron James when they make an all-star game, or, you know what I'm saying? They get a max contract. It's just different. I don't know how to completely put it together, but the NBA I play in now is not the NBA that I came into. And I expect it to evolve. Everything is constantly changing. But like, I feel like I play for the love of the game. Like, I want the competition. I want to know what it feels like to win. I want to see my teammates do well. I want to see my teammates get paid. Like, I enjoy the bonding part of it. Like, we spend more time with each other than anybody. But now it's like, That don't count. Regular season don't count. Get a ring. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy's the MVP. This guy did this. He the first. It's like, bro, what is this stuff? Like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to make it about my situation, but I was talking after a game like a week ago, and I was just like, they was asking me about Dame, but like, to win a ring. And I'm like, bro, I don't need to prove to y'all that I want to win a ring. Why the hell do I play? Like, I don't need to prove that to y'all, but we cannot keep acting like, while I understand we play to win championships, we all want to win a championship. We can't keep acting like nothing matters. Like the rest of the stuff, the journey doesn't matter. We can't keep doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's so many ways that the league is different. There's so many ways. And I think about it all the time where I'm like, man, I don't know if I can just play a long, long time, because I don't enjoy what the NBA as a whole is becoming.
So I apologize for the lengthy clip, but like I said, I'm one of them people where I want the full context.
Right.
Because on the internet, they only took a part of that. Mm-hmm. And I saw where people was ripping him, and it's like, that's why he's never going to win a ring,
right? Because
of his attitude, and he talking about he don't know how long he's going to play and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, in my opinion, I agree with everything he was saying.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
I feel like I agree. It was kind of different, because some parts of it I'm just like, well, why is he, what happened to him? Why is he even saying this? You know what I'm saying? A couple parts of it I didn't really understand why that was even on his mind. But I mean, I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, it has slipped a lot, and I feel like he is kind of having an agenda with what he's saying, you know, because it just coincidentally fits, you know, his situation with, you know, not being in the situation to win a ring, which he probably, you know, if he stays loyal to Portland, he probably won't. So I think it's a little, you know, convenient that he's saying what he's saying. But I totally agree. I think guys, it's almost to a point where guys is, you know, they only worried about wearing short shorts and having that hair. It's like, you know, and then they going out getting their stats, and you can kind of tell that the passion is kind of dropping off, you know.
It's completely gone, and I think that's the part that's burning me out as well, because I've always been a diehard NBA fan. I was actually talking to my wife last night. We was down here watching the college games.
Okay.
And I used to be that person that would argue that the NBA playoffs is better than March Madness. Mm-hmm. And my wife thought I was crazy. But then after watching the Purdue game last night and stuff like that, you see that passion. You see them actually defending, and the game actually matters. Whereas now in the NBA, especially in the regular season, you're looking at these guys and it's like they don't have no desire to defend. And going back to what you were just saying a few minutes ago when we was talking about LeBron, it's like I'm watching dudes get wide open layups, just come through the lane, uncontested. And that's the part where I'm like, all right, what's going on with the league? And that's why I was understanding, you know, what Dame was trying to say.
Right.
And it was making sense. And it was like, that's the question that J.J. Redick posed to him. Like, what do you feel about today's league and today's players? And the best example that comes to mind is the Houston Rockets.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They got a lot of young talent over there, athletes, super high jumpers and things like that.
Yeah, they got some leapers in Houston, boy.
But when you turn on your social media and you look at them in pregame warm-ups and they just out here dancing and goofing around as if they don't have the worst record in the league. And it's like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing?
You think that has something to do with coaching? So, I mean, it's almost like if I'm a coach, is there certain things you can allow, or do you think coaches are handcuffed as far as what they can do, or, you know?
You know what, in my opinion, on the NBA level, the players don't have respect for the coaches anymore.
That's a problem. That's an issue.
If you go back in the day, you look at Phil Jackson, Carl George, your old school vets.
George Carl. Yeah.
Appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the league had coaches that were up here on this plateau equal to the players, Pat Riley's and things like that.
Yep.
Where now you look across the league, think about the Lakers. LeBron has played for guys that he might have played against, or they're not too far off the spectrum in terms of they had just got out of the league when LeBron was getting ready to come. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how am I supposed to ask LeBron, who's the most identifiable athlete in the entire world right now,
Right.
to have respect for a Darvin Ham or a Frank Vogel? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
But it's almost like it should be on LeBron to, if that's your coach, then you gotta respect him. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I just don't really know how that works. I don't know if, coaches can't demand certain things. I just don't know how that works. I wish I did. But,
you and me both.
because there's a lot of stuff that goes on the court. It's just like, well, even if we're talking about the young guys, if you're allowing it's a money grab at this point. If you're allowing me to go out, score 30 a game, not play no defense, stay healthy because I ain't exerting no effort, and I can get paid, like what's the incentive to go all in?
Exactly. Exactly.
And so I think that's something that starts at the top. Ownership, coaching staff. Like, what is it that we're going to accept and what is it that we're not going to accept?
And that's what it boils down to. And I feel like, to me, in my opinion, it's bad for the sport. I'm not going to say just the league, the sport in general, because it trickles on down.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I coach elementary school kids, and we're talking about 8 and 9-year-olds who's trying to shoot threes and turn around without. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, you're not ready for that.
It's your fundamentals first, man.
And I think about myself growing up. I've said several times Allen Iverson was my favorite growing up. So when we saw Iverson, we're outside in the yard practicing ball handling.
Right.
To me, Allen Iverson is responsible for a lot of the handles and stuff that kids have today. But now everything is about creating highlights and things like that. I see more kids running down the court doing this and doing that.
Man,
And it's
I
like,
can't stand it.
But that's where I feel like the NBA now has turned more towards entertainment.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I can see that for sure.
So going back to Dame, that's where I kind of felt like, everything that he was saying was on point. And in my opinion, a championship doesn't measure how good of a basketball player you really were.
I always say this. There's people who got them that don't, deserve them, and there's people that deserve them that don't got them.
Yeah.
And it's just a variable. We got to get away from using team accomplishments to define individual careers. That's
Exactly.
It's literally contradictory to me.
Facts.
The amount of rings that someone has nothing to do individually with, their particular skill set. Because you got to have more than. We've seen some awesome seasons by guys, even like the Joker. With these seasons he hasn't won. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's you can only do so much.
Exactly.
Like there's not a plateau to where if you're this level of skill, your skill set is at this level, you're going to win a ring. The two don't correlate at all, in my opinion.
Facts. And that's why I feel like the social media aspect of it all is how we've gotten to this point.
Right. I agree.
In terms of, it's like some people don't even watch the games. They just run to social media. You see a few clips, and then you'll go sit down and argue with people based off a 3-minute clip. And I'm like, nah,
did you watch these? I find myself asking people that a lot, do you watch these games?
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is just not what's going on out there.
Exactly. Exactly. And like you were saying about Cleveland, that's what really used to burn me up, because I was watching those games faithfully.
I was too. Yeah.
I'm big on, when I'm watching a game, I'm looking at body language.
Oh yes, that's a big one.
I'm looking at all of these different aspects that play a part in the outcome of the entire game. And I told people, I put this on my kids, that last year Kyrie was there, that whole entire playoff run, he was so standoffish, even on the court.
Right.
And I was like, dog, Kyrie Irving's mad about something. Like, you can just see it. Or J.R. Smith is another example. If you don't get him touches early in the game, he's going to shut down. He's not going to defend as hard.
Yep.
But when J.R. Smith gets those early looks, and he might hit one or two of them, J.R. Smith's gonna give you 110%.
But you mentioned body language, the whole deal with J.R. Smith not knowing, the score.
Yeah.
And I feel like LeBron, that game was lost before that overtime period even started, just based off LeBron's body language. I knew it. The game was over because he had completely checked out. It's like, man, like you the leader. You gotta come better than that. So it's like we definitely pay attention to stuff like that and we speak on it. But I feel like the masses hate LeBron so much. He gets so much hate for minor things that I find myself defending what's right, I feel like, in most situations. So people say, oh, well, you always da-da-da-da about LeBron. It's just like, nah, I'm going to always call a spade. But at the same time, a lot of this stuff that y'all, got against him, I don't feel like it's right. It's valid.
Social media told him to do it.
Yeah. Yep.
Social media told him to do it. And that's why I'm saying it's like we'll carry on into this last part because I feel like that's a smooth transition in terms of body language and the eye test. And
that eye test is crazy. You'll be, because like the eye test is the reason why it's hard to acknowledge Joker as the, the MVP. But I mean, if you look at them stats and what he's doing, teams winning, you can't really argue with it. But that eye test is ugly.
Yeah, you can't argue it. And the only thing that I don't like, and I know this is a sidebar, the only thing I don't like about the whole Joker thing is like when you look at it from a historical context,
right?
Not very many people have won 3 in a row.
Man, that's what I was telling my homeboy that the other day because he was talking. He's a Giannis fan and he keep trying to push this Giannis, agenda. Shout out to Steve. And we were talking about that, and it's just like he's just like, well, Giannis is disrespected and he's not acknowledged. But I'm like, bro, he got a back-to-back MVP. How many people got that?
Right.
And he's like, well, the media don't. I'm like, the media is what votes for these MVPs, dude.
Yeah.
So,
and you know what? That's perfect because I'm saying to myself, I'm like, when you look in record books or you look back 10, 15 years from now, and you're like, Larry Bird won 3 in a row. Would you dare put Larry Bird and Joker in the same conversation? No. It's not even close. And
if you look at the stats might say something different. And being a LeBron fan, I'm for the stats. So it's kind of like I don't really, and I try to not really speak so much on people that I didn't have league pass back in '85. I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? I would, and that's some of the things that I say about the people who swear Jordan is this and that. It's like, bro, you didn't have league pass in '95. You wasn't watching all these games,
right?
You know what I'm saying? A lot of the people that I'm discussing Jordan with, we're the same age. In '95, we were 7. You know what I'm saying? Right. So like, were you really taking in what he was doing and really breaking it down from a adult aspect and being able to really speak on it? Chances are you weren't. But that's another. I'm
gonna ask you a question, and we done got all the way sidetracked, and this is perfect because, like I said, I love these kind of conversations. I'll sit down and talk basketball all day long if I could. I'm a little bit older than you, but have you gone back and sat down and watched some of them Bulls games full length?
For sure.
That's when my opinion on Jordan started shifting. Because I'm like, you can't deny that Jordan was cold.
He's that guy, for sure.
You'll be foolish to make that argument. But I've always told people Jordan was ahead of his time. Mm-hmm. And when you looked at those games, it was almost like he was on that court by himself. There was nobody on the other side that was going to challenge him or contest a lot of them looks and stuff that he was getting.
Especially night in and night out like you see today.
Exactly. So it's like, of course, Jordan looked like Jordan. Mm-hmm. But when I go back and watch some of them old finals and things like that, I'm just like, bro, nah. I was like, I'm sorry. Like,
now, he was great. I think anybody could tell you that he was great. But it's just like, you look at some of the competition, it's just like, man, I wish I could see Brian matched up in the finals 2 years in a row against Brian Russell. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not even really
on top of the fact that Jordan never had to guard the other team's best player.
Yep.
And people like, oh, Jordan carried them. But I tell people, you go back and watch that Portland Trailblazers finals and that game 6, the Bulls was down double digits. They benched Mike. They came all the way back. They done did all the hard work.
Right.
So then you go into the fourth quarter and now you're like, here, Mike, go beat Mike. Off. But of course, Mike is going to get all the credit for that. Mm-hmm. I was like, bro, I can't remember a time where LeBron had the luxury of being able to sit down and the team closes a gap. I was like, normally they'll have a gap, and then when he sits down, it's evaporated in a matter of minutes, and that's why he has to play 40 out of 48.
Yep.
I'm like, bro, Jordan, KD, like them guys, like they get to go sit down because the actual team from start to finish,
top to bottom,
was able to go out there and do their job.
And I think some people like take these kind of conversations as, you know, us bashing Jordan. Nobody's bashing. Like, you don't like basketball if you don't think Jordan's a great.
Facts.
The two don't, you know, intertwine. You can't not like Jordan. That's my thing about LeBron too. Is almost like, how do you like basketball but you hate LeBron? Not only do you not like LeBron, but you hate LeBron, but you like basketball. Those don't mix to me. So it's not a situation of us bashing Jordan. We're literally just breaking down, which some people don't respect it. Yeah. If you break down what you saw with Jordan, you know, people, oh, nah, you hating. Nah, let's just talk about it. It's basketball, right?
Exactly.
It's almost like we have basketball and then sometimes we have Jordan. Like, Jordan is here and then basketball's over. Like, bro, it's all basketball. Let's talk about it. We could talk about competition. We could talk about matchups. We could talk about accomplishments. We could talk about all that stuff. It's basketball.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree wholeheartedly. And it's like, I have all these Michael Jordan documentaries and I have these full-length games and stuff on DVD. And I sit down and I'm sitting there watching them. And I'm just like, every trip down the court is just get a ball to Michael and everybody move. I'm like, hell, if you shoot the ball 30 times a game, I expect you to score 30 points. I was like, I don't know. Yeah. But again, that's sidetrack.
And then I always go back. I'll get off this after I say this. And then I always get back to, you know, with Jordan hoop in today's, absolutely. Like, so I'm not saying that. Would it be a little bit tougher? Because, I mean, you know, you could put a Kawhi on him. You could even mix it up, put a Durant on him. You can do different things to put some length on him to make those, you know, those mid-range jumpers more difficult. But with Jordan still kill at the same clip, it would be a lot tougher. But, you know, I'm not about to say Jordan wouldn't be Jordan in this era. That would be crazy.
Facts.
Facts.
So real quick, like I said, we was talking about eye tests and all of that. And I wanted to touch on the Westbrook narrative. And I hear it every single day. He just goes out and he competes. I love his heart. I love his passion and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm hitting the button.
I disagree. I was waiting on that.
Because, in my opinion, going out on a basketball court and just running wild is not the same as going out and you giving your all and you competing. And what I mean by that is, like, for him to have been in the league for as long as he has, he's created the narrative that people have for him because he plays out of control.
Yeah, he definitely get out of control sometimes.
Back in OKC, he was young, athletic. It looked amazing. But now that you're older, you got to know when to pick and choose, when to exert that energy, put that out there.
For sure.
But it's like he's so stuck in his head, in my opinion, that I have to go 1,000 miles per hour. And to some people, that's him just going out and competing. I'm like, no, bro, that's foolish basketball. And I'm like, you put him on a team with LeBron and AD, and the plays that he was making at those moments, like we're talking about a 3-point game with 3 minutes left. You get a rebound and you try to beat everybody down the court, blow the layup. Man. They come down and hit a 3.
That's tie game.
I'm like, bro, like that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But then you'll go online the next day and it's like, well, he really wanted it. He was out there hustling. LeBron and them don't do this. I'm like, bro, are y'all, am I tripping or what? Like, how do you think he's a all-time competitive player, or is he just a bull in the china shop? I know people.
It's crazy because eye test, I feel like, really comes into play with Russell Westbrook, because you figure, you look at his stats, you would be like, okay, for a third option, this is exceptional. This is exceptional. Like, there's no way this team is not succeeding. And if your third option is a former MVP, Mr. Triple-Double, 17 points, 4 assists, 4.5 rebounds, whatever, his stats are. But the eye test is, like you said, it's out of control. He makes some wrong decisions at times.
Shot selection
a
is
lot
what
of
drives me
times shot
crazy.
selections is terrible. His turnovers. You can't have two guys on a team that's 7 turnovers prone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Any given night, LeBron could go out and turn the ball over 6-7 times. You can't have that in another dude that's the same way. You know what I'm saying? And then for the time he was starting, for your starting point guard to be turnover prone like that, you know, it's crazy. So, like I said, he I feel like he does play hard, and he's always available. That's something that's underrated too. Even the games that he missed, you know, he probably could have played. You know, just a couple games that he missed, he probably could have played. So I get that. I heard Steph Curry the other night giving him praise. You know, he works hard,
and that's why I wanted to touch on it, because I was like, you know, it's a brotherhood at the end of the day. So I wouldn't dare expect another NBA player to be like, oh, he's garbage, he's this and that.
Right.
You're supposed to.
So you
say
think he
those
was kind of
things.
just saying that just.
But I feel like everybody just says that. It's like nobody's willing to say that he's been in the league this long, and it's too many careless or bad timing turnovers. Nobody's saying he can't turn the ball over.
Bad. But you know who else used to have the same kind of turnover? Like I feel like was super careless. D Wade. I watched a lot of them games down in Miami where he just. You know, because he already naturally got that nonchalant, you know, he kicked the ball off his foot out of bounds. It's like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Allegedly the third best shooting guard in the history of the game. Like, so that kind of reminded me of that. That was a segue too, but not a segue, but a sidebar. So yeah, I kind of see it both ways. Like to say that he doesn't play hard, I feel like would not be accurate completely, but I also feel you on the careless mistakes, the timing of certain things, you know. And when you kick it to the corner for a wide open three and he hits it off the side of the backboard, like that kind of stuff is, you know, I've even seen him in the warm up line, you know, shoot the ball over the glass. It's like, bro, really?
That's what I'm saying. It's like
eye test though,
and that's when I've gotten to the point where I'm like, are these guys doing this on purpose? Like, what the hell? Like we've all touched the ball before, and it's like.
Right.
You know when your shot is off. When you shoot the ball, you know whether or not it's a make or a miss.
Yeah. So because come off the fingertips for sure.
That's how you know to follow your shot.
Yep.
But for this guy to pull up and that mug go 12 feet in the air and touch the top of the backboard, and it's like, how?
I can't explain it, bro.
Like,
I've seen it too many times. Like I said, I watched all these Laker games, all of them. And it's just like, man, and it was like I was excited for Russ coming in because I was like, finally, LeBron, you know, has got somebody else on the team that, you know, can be held responsible. Because for a long time, like those years, especially that last year without Kyrie, it wasn't nobody else on that team that you could hold responsible. If so-and-so scored, you know, 6 points, you know, it is what it is, you know. But I'm like, man, they're going to, you know, bring Russ in and, you know, the media's going to be able to hold him responsible. Which, and they are holding him accountable. They are, and it's just, it didn't really work out as planned, so.
It's just wild, man. And it goes back to what Dame was saying, and after this we'll close. It's like Dame was speaking about veteran leadership.
Right.
And who his vets were when he came into the league and things like that. That's how I want to view Westbrook.
Right.
You're supposed to be that veteran, that voice of reason, and then when you're on the court, you lead by example.
Right, right.
But it's like,
do you think the media kind of mess with his head a little bit to kind of, because I feel like he kind of carries like almost like a villain, you know, mentality going into these games, you know. I'm thinking maybe the media kind of, you know, was influential in creating this villain Westbrook to where he felt like he could feel the heat on him. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's an interesting point of view. I like that.
But I mean, Westbrook, and then on the flip side of that, he's always had that edge.
He's edgy. I will say he's edgy.
He's always had that edge to him, so I don't really know, actually.
But it's one of them things where it's like, I'm on the seesaw between villain and stubborn.
Stubborn. Oh, yeah, stubborn is big. I can definitely see stubborn in Westbrook.
And it's like,
for sure.
There's no way he lays down at night and he don't realize, like, damn, I messed up. But it's like, you know what? I'm never going to let them see me fold to the pressure of the media. And that's where I feel like the villain part does play a factor. But I'm just like, bro, there's no way that you clear the board and you beat all your guys down the court and you're going 1-on-3. It's 3 people in front of you.
Yeah.
And you still are like, I'm gonna go to the rim no matter what happens.
Classic Russ.
And it's like, at that point, in my opinion, you're just stubborn.
Yeah.
Like, it don't matter if we're down 2, up 2.
Yeah.
And then people just cloud it with, that's just Russ being Russ.
You know what? That's a crazy point because that's actually very much factual. And I think about a lot of stuff, and I ain't never thought about. He is definitely stubborn. That's definitely his issue.
And that's why he gets the label that he gets, in my opinion. And that's why I was just like, we got to stop putting this blanket on. He's a extra hard competitive. He is, because he plays with a high motor. Mm-hmm. And you want a guy that's going to give you 110% at all times.
Right.
But it's like, you got to know when it's time to hit the throttle and when it's time to let up.
Yep.
So if I'm coming down the court and it's 1-on-3, fourth quarter, 3 or 4 minutes left in the game, like, this is a pivotal moment.
Yeah.
Back it out.
Yep.
Let's set something up.
Time and score.
He's been in the league too long not to know that.
And then it's almost, you introduce, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like, does he not care? That's where that stubbornness coming in at.
Exactly.
No, I'm MVP Russ. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get through this 1 and 3 and lay it up and finger roll it over the backboard. You know?
Right.
Seen it too many times, man.
So that's why it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, dope conversation. I feel like it all plays a part going all the way back to Dame. And that's why I wanted to tie all of that in, because I'm like, I agree with him in terms of the league is heading down. I don't know what kind of path they're going down, but it's like the players are getting younger. Mm-hmm. A lot of the players
getting shorter.
The players that we view as the face of the league, your LeBrons, your Durants, your Currys, they're the old guys.
They're getting old, man. It's depressing almost. They getting
Facts.
old.
They're the old guys. So now you're getting a product. And this is a whole nother conversation. We'll save it for another day. Mm-hmm. But it's like you're getting a product where it's almost like you don't even want to watch it.
Right.
Because if you look at some of your bottom tier teams, it's like, I have no idea who some of these guys even are.
Man, have you looked at Oakland? Excuse me, I said Oakland. Oklahoma City Thunder's roster?
Bro.
Like, I don't know where any of those guys came from. I couldn't. They got two Jalen Smith, Jalen Williams.
Yep.
I'm just like, I don't know who none of them cats are. And to see them, you know, obviously, shout out SGA, like we know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is, but a lot of them other guys on that roster, I'm just like, Isaiah Joe, I'm like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
But I feel like they're a piece away from, because they play hard and they play the right way. I can't figure it out. I don't know how Oklahoma City Thunder have any wins this season, honestly.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And that's why I'm just like, once your Dames, your Brons, your Currys, and all of them fall off, who's up next?
I mean, guess Luka. How old is Giannis? He ain't 30 yet, is he?
He's close.
Okay.
He's close, I think. He
Luka's
might be 28, 29.
Man, it's getting to a situation where, man, the top is going to be all international guys, man.
Facts.
That's what, because I feel like they have a different, they're not worried about some of the same stuff that us American guys are. Because even if you go SGA, he's some Canadian.
Yeah.
You know, and he's averaging over 30 points a game, and he's young.
That's a sensitive topic, man. I'm a Kentucky guy, dog. I don't know what Calipari. He done had a lot of gems come through there, man.
Like, that's crazy.
And we ain't got
Devin
no
Booker
hardware.
came off the bench, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's crazy wild for the Twins, and they ain't even in the league, bro.
Man, that's crazy.
That's super crazy.
That's actually nuts if you think about it.
It is, man. You know, after this, we done for real. Because it's like, even with the LeBron thing, I'm a Kentucky guy, but I don't like Cal.
Yeah.
So when I watch these games and I'm critiquing him and his coaching abilities and things like that, you're not a fan. You're not a real fan. You know, I'm like, bro.
I'm going through that with the Bengals now in free agency. He's good. Man, he's not good. He's not good, man. You know what I'm saying? He ain't good.
Facts. Like you said earlier, man, call a spade, bro. Right. And it's like, he's had too many gems come through there to only have one national championship in his career, bro. And I'm like, nah, man. And going back to SGA, it's like he's killing. He looks like a legit scorer.
He don't even be breaking a sweat.
But at Kentucky, he was a passer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how?
College ball is sick, man. That's actually why I'm not so excited about the tournament, man. It's sick how it flows on. I just don't like. It's hard to stay. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not even getting the best out of these guys. And I think these guys are starting to like pimp college. Like I feel like UK, they starting to like kind of pimp UK. Like let me just go here for a year so I go.
Starting and it's been that way from since John Wall stepped on that campus.
It's crazy. And I promise you, I'm not gonna keep going on this, but I feel like UK is the college basketball version of Ohio State football. Because I'm an Ohio State football fan. I feel like guys come to go to the league. They don't really winning is kind of optional. You know what I'm saying? They just go. They see a payday. They come to Ohio State. Whereas guys is, you know what? I can go to the NFL, but I want to come back and get that ring. Alabama, Clemson. I want to come back and get that ring. Guys, Ohio State. Whoa, I'm out. I'm gone. See ya. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's the same kind of vibe, but that's another conversation. For
UK is definitely a halfway house for the league. I've
not a halfway house. Wow,
it's sad because it's like. Kentucky basketball has always been top tier.
Yeah.
Championship or bust for the most part. I hated how they done Tubby Smith. So I felt like that little window between Tubby and Cal was their karma.
Okay. Gillespie years.
Yeah, it was bad. I was sitting in them games. They was getting booed. But then it's like, okay, Cal gave us this spark. We're getting these top kids. And then all of a sudden, now that you're Dukes and all that are, people are like, I can go to Duke and do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when you start separating great coaching from just having a bunch of great players.
Right.
So Coach K walked out with, 2 chips in the last 10-year period. I think 2 or 3. But Calipari's had the best kids.
Yeah, he has some crazy teams. I saw something that threw me off yesterday. There ain't been no 2024 commits for UK yet.
It's crazy.
That's nuts. And that's next year.
It's crazy.
0 commits in class of 2024. I thought that was crazy.
It's crazy.
Whatever, he got a lifetime contract, I think. Like
he's feeling the pressure though.
You think so?
I feel like I said, last night was our first tournament win in like the last 4 years.
That's crazy. Really?
Yeah. They canceled the COVID year.
Right. Yeah.
Last year we was a 2 seed, lost to the 15 seed first game. Then year before that we lost. So yeah. Yesterday was our first tournament win.
For that kind of talent, that's unacceptable.
And for Kentucky, we used to dominate the SEC. Like everything had to go through Kentucky in the SEC. And it's like, hell, we ain't even been in the SEC championship game. It's been a minute.
Who'd y'all lose to this tourney?
Vandy. First game.
Wow. Really?
Vandy. Stackhouse. That's why I'm like, he's feeling that hot seat, bro. He's feeling that hot seat. But we'll see, though, man. Good conversation, dog.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Definitely appreciate you pulling up, man. You're always welcome to come back.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, y'all go check out Epic Podcast. Every play is critical, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's what? YouTube. Y'all on streaming.
Yep.
Go check that out.
On Facebook. We have some conversations going on in the Facebook group. Epic, period, in between every letter. E, period. P, period, I-C. I, period, C, period. Yeah, podcast. We got some interesting conversations going on in the group. Come on in. Check us out. Give your opinions. Let's talk some ball.
Most definitely. Good stuff. And as usual, y'all know, hit that like, share, subscribe. Check out the I Respectfully Disagree podcast page on IG. And sky's the limit, man.
Yes, sir.
We out.
Ass toasted, no competition.